Hello, welcome to Total Obvious Comedy. Today we're going to be doing a recipe. I'm going to teach you guys how to make a very simple roast chicken. So, let's see if this does well. So here we are, my whole chicken. And this is from Tesco. They said it's a whole large chicken, but that's my hand. It's not, not that I've got small hands or anything, but it's not as large as I thought it would be. But right, so first thing I've got to do is I've got to do a little bit of cheeky seasoning. Now, to some people this might seem like I'm putting a lot of seasoning in here. I'm not really putting much seasoning at all. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of pepper. And this is all to taste. There's no, I've actually knocked my camera there, but this is all to taste. This ain't actually to do with, I haven't really got any measurements. This is just how much you want to go in there. And now I've got some brown pepper in there. We're now going to put in some thyme. Thyme gives it a nice earthy flavour. Oh, didn't mean to do that. It gives it a very nice earthy flavour. Basil, classic. I love a bit of basil me. And some garlic powder as well too. And then put a little bit of salt. Not too much. Because chicken itself becomes quite salty anyways. So I'm just going to give that a little mix. Because I'm going to mix it with my hand anyways. But yeah, so that's what your dry rub looks like. And we're going to put that over the chicken, but before I do that, I'm going to add some olive oil into it. It doesn't actually matter what oil you add on this recipe, but just as long as it's some. So I've got a little bit of olive oil here that I'm adding into it, and that just helps it bind better. So I'm just going to mix that in. Let me move this camera up. This is so badly edited, but yeah. So hello. So I'm just going to mix this up, and it's going to be like a dry little paste kind of thing that we're making. And once that's pasted up, you're going to get something that looks a bit like this. A green little pasty thing. And that will help with your chicken and help permeate around. It's not going to penetrate into it, but it'll permeate and add a nice little flavouring to it. Here's my roasting tray, and you can see it's been rusted quite a bit from overuse. Now, what I like to do is just put a little drop of oil in the roasting tray, and this is just helps prevent sticking or anything. I know the juices from the chicken anyway will prevent sticking, but this is just there. And just get your hand and just rub it around there, and that just helps with that. Okay, lovely. And just try and get as round as you can. There we go. And once it's covered like that, then you just grab your chicken and let's plonk that in there as well. He's seasoning over a whole chicken. First thing you need to do is get a knife and just prod it a few times. You don't want to go too deep, but just prod it a few times, and that will help with the penetration, like I said. That's been stabbed quite a few times. We're now going to put our paste over it. So it's not going to be a lot, but it's just going to be enough to rub around it. Just put it over there. Actually, no, I'll fill out the rest of it in a second, but let's rub it all over. And don't be shy, just feel it, feel into it, like you're in love with it. Just get right in there. Massage the chicken, make love to the chicken. Well, don't actually make love to it, but do it like it's your lover, like it's someone that you care for, someone that you want to be around, someone that's going to take you to the movies and tell you how great you are, and how someone that will actually say let's go Dutch rather than expect you to just pay for the bill. That's how you want to treat this chicken. And so, there we go. That's it. And that's all you need to do, really. Job done. And that's your chicken prepared. And I don't know if you can actually see it, actually. There you go. There's your chicken, all nicely prepped. I'm going to keep it nice and simple. So I'm going to just put this over here for now. As you can see, I've got my veg to do for my roast. And put my chicken there for now, and then I'm going to preheat the oven. So I've got a fan oven, so let's just preheat that. So I'm going to preheat this to 200, and once the chicken goes in there, it's going to go at 180. Right, So now that chicken is in the oven. I'm going to leave it in there for 20 minutes, and then after 20 minutes I'm going to check on it and then baste it, because that's one thing people don't tend to do when it comes to chicken, is baste. But what I always am an advocate for is basting, because that keeps the moistness going, it keeps it nice and tender, and I love that word, moist. Nice and moist. Okay, as you can see, chicken's not fully cooked. Well, it's not going to be because it's only been there for 20 minutes. But we're going to do the first basting. So, I like to baste every few minutes my good old chicken. Make sure you guys can hear me. I like to baste it every few minutes just to make sure it's done right. Alright, so one way to do it is just tilt. This is so bad because I'm not very good with angles, so you could just see my oven good, but just baste it over it. There's not a lot of juices coming off yet, but this does the job. Okay. Right, that's that basted. So now I'm going to put it in for 45 minutes and just see how it goes from there. As you can see, my oven here is next to this door handle, so I can't actually lower it all the way. Sucks. But let's put this back in. Actually, I might turn it around. And now I'm going to whack it up for 45 minutes. As you can see, oh my god, I blurred up my camera. But what you would see, from what I can see, is a lot of juices coming out. But I did not contemplate a blurred gap. Look, now I've blurred up my whole kitchen. Okay, as you can see, it's starting to crisp up around there. You can see around the edges, it's starting to brown quite a bit. So I'm going to do another baste. Ooh, got to make sure your chicken doesn't get in the way of you. I did actually used to have a proper baster, but it broke. Let's have a look. Okay, just, oh God, I've got my arm in the bloody way. This is quite hard to baste without an actual baster. But it's yeah, one of the things you've got to do to keep your meat, even when you're roasting any meat really, just do this and it keeps it moist. It does. There we go. I've got some actual basting going on here. I was playing Red Dead Redemption and that made me crave chicken for some reason. I don't know why, but that's how we're having it. Okay. And we're going back in the oven. So that will take every 10 minutes. I'm going to try and baste it, and that will help keep the nice moistness in there. What I'm going to do for the last 5 minutes, I'm going to crank the heat up to 200 degrees, and what that will do is that will give the chicken a nice brownish colour on the outside. You know, one of the things, not I'm saying that when things look a bit browner, they look a bit better, but well, you know, but in this instance, they do. So you'll find out in a second. So here we are, a nicely roasted piece of chicken, and you can see the steam coming off of it. I placed it onto a chopping board so it's ready to chop when it's there. You'll notice if you look closely that some of the thyme has gone a bit of a darker colour. Doesn't mean it's burnt. What that means is it's toasted, and you can tell by the taste. It won't be a bitter taste for it. And also, here's my tray. Now you're going to have a lot of liquid in there. That's mostly the fats from the chicken. That I'm going to put in a separate container, and you can use that on like roast potatoes and things like that. But you don't want to put that in your gravy because your gravy becomes too fatty, so that's going to be removed. But I am going to save some of it for this current chicken roasted. It's cooked. Now, next thing you got to do, you've got to let it rest. 15 minutes. 15 minutes resting, and that's because
what happens is the heat gets into the meat and it just tenses up. So you've got to let it rest so it just relaxes. It's the same like when you're working out. Once you train, your muscles are very tensed up. They're very like, oh, they're very strenuous. But once you relax and rest, your muscles relax themselves. So it's the same case with this meat. So you can either let it rest like this, and it's going to be nice and tasty and moist, or you don't let it rest and then you just fuck it up. So let it rest, or it's going to taste like shit. So just, you know, be patient. 15 minutes. That's all you got to do. 15 minutes. That's from the roasting tin. Here's the fat I'm going to be keeping in the fridge, and that I'll be using at a later date. But this I'm going to be using on the chicken after it's carved. Basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to pour it over the chicken afterwards before it's being served. Because sometimes what chicken can do is once it's carved it dries out, and this just adds a little extra moistness into there. That's been the theme of this recipe, moist. I've been saying it quite a lot. My missus actually hates it when I say the word moist, but that just makes me want to say it more, so moist. Here's the carved, as you can see, this is the carcass left, so I'm just going to try a bit of it now. I can hear my parents. Try a bit. That's so moist. A bit more before I go in. All I can say is all those girls that turned me down at school, this is what you could have been having, but no, you missed out. Oh. So that's how you make a simple roast chicken. That's the second recipe I've done on this channel. We'll be getting some more out there. If you guys have any ideas what you want to see me try and attempt to make, just leave a comment. Please like, subscribe, share the video, and yeah, so it's not that hard to make a simple roast chicken, right? Peace out everyone, laters.